Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm talking to you about the hottest comics releasing August 17, 2022. But first, please be sure to subscribe, like the video, and comment down below what you're picking up this week. I'm dying to know. There's tons of new indie comics coming out, and to me, that's just like Christmas. I absolutely love it. I love reading new independents. Hopefully you find your next favorite one amongst this week, because there is some bangers. So, I'm going to talk to you about my top 10, starting with number 10, Shirtless Fighter 2 number 1. Now, Shirtless Bear Fighter was a huge success when it first came out. It was quirky, it was unique, it was different, and people just had a really fun time with it. And honestly, I expect no less from this series. This series looks like it's just going to do very similar take on what the first one was, but it's going to be even higher stakes, new characters, and all-hearted quality time with our favorite shirtless bear fighter. And honestly, I'm just really excited to see how this plays out. I think the first one was just like a really fun epic adventure, so I'm really hoping for the same thing here. You got the same co-creators back again and some really cool covers, so hopefully it's a success. In my number 9 spot, it's going to go to Jimmy's Little Bastards number 1. Now, this is an Aftershock comic, and Jimmy's Bastards was a comic that came out when Aftershock pretty much first started. It's written by Garth Ennis and drawn by Russell Braun, and honestly, it is so funny and so different. It's as if 007 couldn't stop having sex and which just became like a sex addict and multiplied into tons of other children and people that act just like him. So it's really a sense of humor, but it's very violent as well, and it just has like this Garth Ennis feel to it. So if you like Garth Ennis, I do recommend checking out this book. It's going to be out of a 3-parter, and it's really going to expand on Jimmy's daughter, and I think that's going to be a really interesting take as well. In my number 8 spot, it's going to go to Seven Sons number 3. Now, this is 3 of 7, and the last issue was mind-blowing in my eyes. I thought it was so unique. I love seeing this evolution of these sons that were born at the exact same time and are meant to be this fulfilled prophecy that everybody believes of, but yet they can't be who they want to be. They have to be a certain Brigator, and when one of the sons lets loose and finally becomes and shows the other son, he ends up getting murdered, and I feel like that's what's going to have the main son, Delph, really find out what's happening in this church and how and why they all came together and became the Seven Sons. So honestly, it's like a mystery just unraveling before your eyes, and I really like that. So bravo to Jay Lee. I think he's doing a great job, and I'm really excited for this 3rd issue. And my number 7 spot goes to Dark Spaces Wildfire number 2. Now, I knew Scott Snyder's independent work was amazing. However, when I read this, I was not expecting this. Now, it does not read like any other Scott Snyder independents in my eyes. It's very unique, very different. And it's a concentration on these 5 women. And to me, that's like really talented for Scott Snyder to have like this women-centered focus and not feel like this male-dominated area or this male wrote it. It really feels like a story being told through the eyes of these women, and I find that so fascinating that he was able to do that and get that across as well as he did. I also believe that this storyline is so good. I was not expecting the twist at the end, and now I'm honestly just super excited to see how that plays out and how we might end up getting a really tragic ending in this. So yeah, bravo to Scott Snyder's independence, because I think this is doing a great job, and I wished it sold more, so I'm hoping if I get the word out about these amazing firefighter women and fighting these California fires and what they do and go through with it, it's not just about that, it's about this bigger concept behind it, and I'll go in more depth with it after issue number 2, just because I want to give people the chance to read number 1 and kind of see it as a shocking revelation. So I really, really liked number 1, and I'm super excited for number 2. In my number 6 spot, it's going to go to Star Wars: The Mandalorian number 2. Now, I was a little disappointed with number 1. It was very much a retelling of The Mandalorian. However, I do have hopes for number 2 and onwards to get maybe even a little more detail about the relationship with Mando and Grogu, or maybe Grogu himself. Anything really. Maybe a little backstory of Mando. I just want something a little different that wasn't shown in the show. However, the covers of these are amazing. How could I not get these? I think Grogu is just so cute, and seeing him in a comic form, it makes me want to buy all the covers, but I have to refrain myself from doing that because, I don't have that much money, and I get about $100 in comics a week already, so just one Grogu cover. So yeah, really excited to see how this plays out and the bond between them, so hopefully it really expands on that. In my number 5 spot, it has to go Edge of Spider-Verse number 2. Now, Edge of Spider-Verse has been a killer success at my store, and I'm sure at plenty of other stores. Not only has Edge of Spider-Verse in the past introduced characters like Spider-Gwen and, all kinds of famous characters from the Spider-Verse, but now we're getting brand new characters into this that might have really long-lasting terms with them, but also having those old favorites return and really keeping that Dan Slott Spider-Man feel to it. Now, this one's going to center around Spider-Gwen, your favorite, the new Spider UK, and Mini Spidey, which sounds really interesting. And honestly, I feel like there is a Spider-Man for everyone in these series. So all kinds of people are picking this from young age to older age, and I just think that's really fun and exciting. And I really like this storyline, so I hope it continues to do really well. In my number 4 spot, it's going to go to Do a PowerBomb number 3. Daniel Warren Johnson. Absolutely love him, and I'm really loving this run. I love comic books that make me that I wouldn't normally like in real life, like wrestling. I'm not a big wrestling fan, but this comic makes me super interested in wrestling. So I love comics like that. There's another comic, it's an AWA comic called Crimson Cage that's also about wrestling. If you haven't gotten a chance to look that up, I highly recommend it. It's a really great storyline. It has a little bit of terror, but a little bit of seriousness, emotion, everything. Really fun. But this one, I feel like also does the same. I get incredibly emotionally invested. There's twists and turns, and it keeps me on my toes. Plus, teaching me about wrestling that I don't really know too much about. So, honestly, it gets me hyped every time I read this. I get so excited. And now that Lana and Cobra Sun are going to be teaming up, and oh man, I can't wait to see this. Even in the synopsis, it says, like, be prepared for their final opening move, or the final move. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how this all plays out. And I hope she's a really big success in the story and has a happy ending. In my number 3 spot, it's going to go to Daredevil number 2. I love Chip Zdarsky and Marco Checchetto's Daredevil run. I think it's a standout comic. I think it's so fun. And I love the team up between Matt and Elektra. I think it's so cool having the two of them together. And this one should be no different, having that evolve into whatever this storyline may become after the events of Devil's Reign. So, still not quite sure how this is going to lead up, but we do know that they're after the Hand, and the Punisher is going to get somewhere in between that as well. So, really looking forward to seeing how this sets up. Apparently, this is also Daredevil's number 650th issue, so can't wait for that. In my number 2 spot, it's going to go to Avengers 1 Million BC number 1. Now, this is a one-shot written by Jason Aaron, drawn by Kev Walker. I've been waiting for this for so long. We got introduced to Avengers 1 Million BC so long ago in Jason Aaron's Avengers run, and I've been waiting to see more of them. They are so badass. They are probably my favorite Avengers team, and we've hardly seen them. They have just such a talented roster with that Ghost Rider, Mammoth Rider, and like, oh man, the Phoenix and Odin, and it's just such a powerhouse team that I am really excited to see how they play out, not only in their time, but how it really unravels in our time as well. So, Super stoked to see that. And will we finally get a revelation about Thor's birth in this? I cannot wait. Hopefully, it's a grand slam. Now, before I tell you my number one, I'm going to do just a couple of shout outs to comics. We got Batman Superman World's Finest number 6. Super amazing Terry Dodson cover on that. Batman the Knight number 8. Bloodstained Teeth number 5. Catwoman number 46. Firepower number 23. A very underrated Robert Kirkman. Highly recommend checking it out, especially if you like martial arts. Fortnite Marvel number 3. Harley Quinn 20 with another really cool homage. Hulk number 8. Iron Cat number 3. Nightwing number 95. Nita Ha's Nightmare Blog number 7. Another really incredibly underrated comic. Savage Avengers number 4. And Strange number 5. So, what could be my number one this week? Well, it's going to be none other than Batman One Bad Day the Riddler. It is a one-shot, and they're going to have multiple one-shots of very classic Batman villains, including the Riddler, Two-Face, Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Catwoman, Bane, Clayface, and Ra's al Ghul. Now, this first one is going to be done by none other than Tom King and Mitch Gerards, the powerful team that brought you Mr. Miracle. One of my favorite team-ups, so I'm excited to see what they have in store for this. Now, the great thing about this is it's kind of like a homage in a way to The Killing Joke. It's gonna be like how that story is the Joker, this will be these characters' storylines, and they're all just gonna be really self-contained issues. I'm really looking forward to the Riddler. I think Eddie is a really, really cool villain, and I'm really excited to see how this plays out. It looks like he is going to kill somebody, and most people find that an odd trait for the Riddler, just to murder somebody clear plain, but every murder has a riddle to it, and every riddle has an answer, and I'm really excited to unravel this mystery of the Riddler. Now, that's going to be my top 10 for this week. I'm dying to know what you guys have in store, and I'll see you here next week. Have a great day.